Now joining us via Skype to discuss this further is security analyst Euan Grant. Now the inquiry will take place over the next few months, Euan. What should we expect to come out of this?
Well, I think your colleague made the point very clear that a sensitive and secret information will remain secret. The inquiry will be informed about the extent, if any, of British government agencies' involvement with Alexander Litvinenko and the information that provides, if any, in relation to criminal groups in Russia, Russian criminal groups in Western Europe and beyond, and links to the Kremlin. And there will be considerable implication evidence in public, but the actual direct evidence will remain private and will have to be. But I am satisfied that it will demonstrate beyond a reasonable doubt Russian knowledge of these activities.
Now, we know that Putin has refused to allow the men in question to be extradited from Moscow. So what level of justice can we expect to come out of this?
I'm afraid it will be the court of public opinion, not just in Europe, but in the United States and beyond, and privately in Russia. Of course, people will not be able to speak publicly about that. We have to be realistic. It is very unlikely that either gentleman, both of whom are subject to an Interpol international arrest warrant, will ever travel to a location where that can be enforced.
Now, Moscow also believes that one of the men, Andrei Lugovoy, is as much a victim as Litvinenko is. Now, what are your views on this?
Don't believe that.
And
Simple as that. I don't believe it.
Now, Theresa May has previously ruled out an inquiry on the grounds that it might damage relations between UK's relations with Moscow. Why is this no longer a concern?
Well, as was considered, and I think it's now openly admitted, certainly it's never been denied, it is in effect the British government's view and the view of its neighbours in the EU and in the United States and beyond, that relations with Russia have deteriorated, that it is probably more in the public interest, and I might add, in the interest of the Ukrainian state in its confrontation with Russia, that a public inquiry goes ahead and Russian state culpability, if any, is exposed.
Should we expect to see any further sanctions perhaps potentially placed on Russia because of this?
Well, actually, yes, I do. I think that is a real possibility, largely linked to Ukraine, but to a degree independently. And one thing I think it raises the real possibility, maybe not the probability, of a much more coordinated and extensive effort to look at the assets and the criminal activities of Russian state-licensed organized criminality in the West.
Euan Grant, security analyst, thank you very much for joining us today.